You are in the Temple of the Rants, where I rant about whatever my $15 a month plus patrons want me to rant about. You can get one of these by being one of those. This one is for Languid Landscape Lad, who says, rant about Joe Hisaishi. So if you don't know, Joe Hisaishi is the composer who's worked on all of the Ghibli movies. Well, I guess at least all the Miyazaki films. He's like Miyazaki's right hand man, you know. Yeah, I guess just the Miyazaki ones. I'm looking at his list of works, and he's also done some other movies and stuff. He did the Ni no Kuni games and Children of the Sea. Joe Hisaishi is praised endlessly. There's tons of videos you can find on YouTube talking about him, about different properties of why he is so great. And, you know, as a fan of Ghibli movies, I definitely appreciate what his soundtracks add to the films. They match the emotions of the scenes just perfectly. My favorite Ghibli song, so to speak, is probably the My Neighbor Totoro theme. Both the actual like Totoro Totoro and the main theme, the though the funny thing about that is that song is very much just like a traditional Japanese folk song style, like the same kind of style that's used in like every Toho song. But hey, I like that style. I don't know what it's called. But let me level with you. I do not know shit about classical music. I do not listen to orchestral music. I do not listen to like this style of music. You know, like I appreciate it in the movies, but I don't really notice or get keyed into it. Like I will have a moment maybe where I'm watching like Porco Rosso and I'm like, oh yeah, this is a pretty good song. But like it doesn't stay in my memory. It's not an element of the movies. Like I could not hum for you a song from Spirited Away. And I know that anybody else who's seen Spirited Away probably could. Maybe if I heard it I'd recognize it. But it's just not a style of music I really have the capacity to understand. And that's completely fine. Obviously, this man is a legend. He does not need my approval or praise or anything. He is a god of anime soundtrack creators. But I feel little. I don't when I hear the name Joe Hisaishi, I just think, oh yeah, that's the Ghibli guy. My Neighbor Totoro. That's cool. You know, I can't pretend. I'm not going to sit here and act like, oh yeah, oh, Joe Hisaishi, oh, he's touched me in so many deep ways over the years. It honestly blows right through me. I know that there's some great tracks in Princess Mononoke. You know, the kind of music I listen to is by and large experimental pop and rock music and hip hop, like all of which I would consider basically, you know, pop music. Like I listen to just weird takes on popular strands of music. I don't listen to a lot of instrumental music in the first place, and when I do, it's very densely packed, very oddball kind of shit. You know, I just when I'm watching anime, the soundtracks that stand out to me, the kind that I would download and listen to repeatedly, tend to be the ones that go in a direction of like experimental rock and pop. So like certain Yoko Kanno soundtracks, certain Yuki Kajiura soundtracks, particularly from her early career before she got more orchestral. Tsuneo Imahori soundtracks, or like you know, anything with more of a rock edge or a hip hop edge, like Samurai Champloo soundtrack. You know, that's the kind of stuff I'm going to gravitate towards more and remember. I'm trying to think of like some other, like if there's one that's like a particularly experimental soundtrack that I'm a big fan of. Like I don't generally listen to anime music. I'm not like it's really funny because I know a lot of guys who all they listen to is soundtrack music, who like pretty much exclusively are just about soundtracks, and to those types of people, Joe Hisaishi is a god. Like highest tier possible orchestral music. I just don't. I don't know. I don't latch on to the kinds of things that the people do who listen to that type of music. I don't know if it's just an understanding of musical theory. I don't know if it's just the sound palette doesn't resonate with me. Like, I tend to like harsher, more abrasive noises. I tend to like immediate, punchy sounds. I like just overwhelming and dense music that just has lots of shit in it, you know. And like orchestral ostensibly is as dense as it gets, but like what I mean is not so much like five instruments playing the same notes in a different register, but like a cacophony of sounds. You know, my favorite band is Death Grips. Like it's just a bunch of pummeling fucking noise and screaming and and harsh sounds. You know, so like there's not many anime soundtracks that really are something I would listen to in my own time or think about. And I appreciate that, you know, people often say, well, like, the point of it is not to be something you listen to on your own. The point of it is to score the movie well. And, like, I think that Joe Hisaishi's music scores the movies incredibly, but I have no grounds to really explain or appreciate why. What is it about this music that makes it work? Because the answer is not obvious to me. And I would say that that's like the last thing I think about in when I talk about a Ghibli movie. You know, like I'm much more visually focused in that regard, and like I mean I can count on one hand the number of shows where like the soundtrack is something that I feel very passionately about. As like part of the viewing experience, where it's like when I'm watching it, my excitement over the music is a big part of my enjoyment of the show. Um, and it's especially funny because most of the shows that are like that are ones where I've listened to the soundtrack so many times that now watching the show is fucking weird because I just hear all these catchy tunes that I've memorized and I hum along to them. Like I think Spice and Wolf, for instance, as an example. But yeah, so this is a disappointing rant about Joe Hisaishi, but I mean, hopefully in the sidebar you'll have been recommended the countless Joe Hisaishi videos that are on YouTube. I mean, I know Sideways has a video about him. I'm sure Zen Huxtable has a video about him. I'm sure a bunch of anime channels have videos about him. Like he's like the most beloved composer in modern film that there is. So like, yeah, come to anybody else. I'm the last guy who should be talking about Joe Hisaishi.